Okay, so we are going to find a new club today, but I just thought this was very interesting. We were in La Liga 2 Smart Bank. That's when the series started. We get relegated, and now we're coming back. And the board is currently looking for a stadium to rent to play our home games because we have to move. Because we are currently 2,695 seats short of the league's minimum requirements. So the only thing that I can think of is we rented last time we were up, and then we got relegated, and so we were already renting maybe, and it was like, that's fine, you're renting. And now that we got relegated, then we started playing back in our home stadium, and they're like, everything's great, and now it's like, oh, by the way, you can't use that again. And then the board have spent $10.25 million on a new stadium that holds 6,134 persons. Additional funding for the project has been secured with a stadium sponsorship deal worth 2.6 and a 2.8 million grant from the authorities. No external funding. So it's just like, okay, like no debt to do this. I just thought that was a very interesting way to start the episode today. All right, my friends, as the thumbnail, I believe, will show you, we were looking at the likes of Volta Redonda in the second division in Brazil, or one of these two clubs in Argentina. I mean, really, when you look at it this way, if we're trying to find a job in June, July, the summer time frame, okay? In anywhere in the world, you pretty much limit yourself to South America or like Sweden. I mean, there might be, I can't remember if Finland's in there or not, but there's not a whole lot of opportunities. So those were our options. Obviously, there's a couple of other teams in, there's still another team in the second division of Brazil, a team in the third division. But it's like, again, we want the best job possible. So we're going after all of these jobs, and we'll see how they turn out. But the problem I'm also facing while I'm doing this is I'm trying to get some of these contracts taken care of so that we have these players long term, because they currently, right, like want to, or let's see, opting out, Abdon Prats, all those types of things. So I'm trying to balance that, get to the end of my contract in 25 days, and find a new job. We're kind of busy. And this is what the jobs look like a month later. We ran into some problems where I ended up having to resign. Now, it was one of those things where I think if you resign with less than a month left on your contract, I don't think that you get dinged on that. I could be wrong. I know resigning over and over is bad for your reputation, but the board sent a nice note and said, we appreciate everything that you've done. We totally understand, blah, 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 blah. So I kind of go that would make sense. If you were interviewing somebody like, oh yeah, you were wrapping up. I was running into problems trying to get the contracts extended on those players. It was very strange. They were on holiday. It was like a whole thing. And in the meantime, we've vacationed forward a little bit because as I was trying to get those contracts taken care of, the clubs that we were interested in Brazil and Argentina actually disappeared. Not disappeared, they hired managers very quickly. So we're not in the mix for any of those, and we're going to keep looking. The good news for FC Andorra is that means they were able to get some of the contracts over the line. Abdon Pratt signed on the 29th after I resigned. Again, it was a weird thing. Now it's got a terrible release clause, 1.5 million. I guess it might be all right. He is 31 going on 32. Gaston also we were able to get, but that's the original deal. So he hasn't signed a new deal, and he still has it says it's still active relegation release clause. Does it not go away when you get re-promoted? That seems like something that they should take care of, but they've chosen not to. But it looks like Oriana is going to be leaving. Lots of options, I guess. He's popular. Varela's got some bids. He's opting out. So he might be leaving. They might need a left back. Alinde, I thought, was leaving at the end of his contract, but that's not for an entire year. So he's already made that decision a year in advance. Altair is still there. Has he signed a contract? Nope, he's still there with his active relegation release clause. But the important thing, Roberto Fernandez has shown up for the club. We're not doing end of season awards, but I want to kind of give you a little, here's what's going on in Andorra. Bye-bye. Quickly back to the job search page here. Again, a lot of these, really wish it'd be the dream if you could be mid-season instead of end of season. But obviously, all of these Spanish and Belgian and all that, we don't want anything to do with those. So you kind of scroll down here. We've got Örgryte IS and the Allsvenskan. Okay, that is in the 21st league in Europe. The league we were just promoted back into is the 33rd league, so that would be a step up, right? We're trying to avoid going backwards. You've also got Egersund in the Obos-Ligaen. Ligaen. They are a whopping 11 points off. That would be quite the rescue job, if you ask me. Now, that is the 39th league, but it's in the same realm. Like, it's not like down into the 50s. Again, let's go back. The Allsvenskan is the 21st league, and Örgryte is 7 points off. So again, quite the set of hurdles to come over there. You've also got Lillestrøm in the Eliteserien in Norway. They are only a point off though, so that's not very interesting. I'm going to keep moving forward and see what we can find. Okay, so this club that we're going to attempt to pronounce, because I just listened to something on YouTube on how to potentially pronounce it. So Örgryte, I believe, has offered us an interview. We would be an acceptable fit for the club's vision for the future. Now, it doesn't say anything about getting promoted because we're at the bottom, but, you know, I'd like to think that's a feather in my cap. I'm not going to show you the interview because that's boring. So we do have an offer from Örgryte, and it's one of those, again, Relegation Ranger doesn't stick around. You know, if there's a good offer on the table, he's taking it. So I just want to show you, I did apply to Örgryte in the Allsvenskan. Sorry if that's wrong. I'm sure Pekka Wickman, one of my moderators, will let me know about that. And we did apply to Egersund in the Obos-Ligaen. Okay, again, 39th league. Quite the rescue job there. And we also applied to Varberg's Boys, B-O-I-S. I'm sure that stands for something else. Who are oh boy, we're now 8 points off. They're 6 points off. So it's the bottom two teams in the same league. Applied to both of them, but Örgryte has jumped on me first. So we're going to go back to the inbox here. They're giving us 130 grand to spend and a 53K wage budget and a whopping salary of 1.8K. This is a thing. I am not going to complain about FM, but in the interview, it said you struggled to maintain dressing room atmosphere. But then, like, later, it said, like, you've done a good job maintaining dressing room atmosphere. Like, those two things are the opposite. They want us to sign players under the age of 23, play defensively solid, direct, and counter-attacking footy. Yeah, attempt to avoid relegation. I told them that I think I could avoid automatic relegation, which would mean we would be in the relegation playoff spots. Because if you can just move up 2 spots, if we go back to the league table here, if we can just get 6 points and get above Hammarby, then we'll be doing okay. Because we have a chance to beat the team below us in whatever playoff format it is. I haven't even looked. Just kind of give an update here. League position 16th. Media prediction 16th. Get in, lads. We're meeting expectations. Also, if we go to the stages, 8 goals for, 19 against. That's last in goals for. Now, to be fair, you just need 3 more to get off the, into the relegation playoff part of the goals for. And we are actually not the worst defensively, which is concerning. So I think we just need to score some goals. But that's a problem because they want us to play defensively solid, direct, counterattacking football. When, yeah. I mean, we're probably not good enough to like gegenpress anyway, but you go like, all right. So let me walk through the negotiations and accept the contract and all that, and then we'll take a look at the squad. Welcome to Örgryte IS something. We've got 39 wins, 7 draws, and 17 defeats, in our locker. We've also won a league title. So even though I resigned, I made sure it's on my milestones. I have that a feather in my cap. We are taking on Kalmar FF in the Allsvenskan in our next game. Yeah. We've lost 3 of our last 5. As you do. Reputation 2.5 star, not bad. Average training facilities, which is good. We don't care about the youth facility because we're not going to be here long enough for that to matter. I'm not sure if this is our best 11 or if it's taking our best 11 and putting it into our typical 4-3-3 format. We'll take a look at these guys here in a little bit. Squad personality, though, professional. Like that. We already have a transfer. I already skipped past that. That's coming in. So we jump right in with the club with a youth intake preview, which is was kind of funny. It's like, it's your first day, and here's your report of who's coming in and the intake. It's just kind of a funny timing standpoint. So 2.5 star average intake. Looks like we have a top prospect in midfield, and a striker who could be considered a fine prospect. Everything else is kind of poo. When you look at the supporter profile, we've got 11% hardcore, 33% core, 24% family, 12% fair weather, 2% corporate, not exactly lighting up the corporate ranks here, and 18% casual. They have very similar, I do like this addition to FM23. They have very similar expectations as the board, except they also want entertaining football, and they want us to get the better of our rivals, Gace. I'm sure that stands for something. If we happen to play against them, they are in the league below us. So, like, could we not worry about that because they're below us? We're not going to be down there, no. And then do well against Göteborg, which are top of the league. Be competitive. Be competitive. What does that mean if you're a supporter? Like, lose 1-0 or by 1 goal, or what does that mean? And as you're wont to do, let's take a look at how our squad compares to the rest of the league, because that's going to become very important with how we set up things. This is what I don't understand. When you're interviewing, you'd think you could get some sort of report, right? Like, wouldn't your agent as a manager be like, I need to see like what the squad looks like, who's coming in? You know, when it says, hey, you have this much budget to spend, it's like, well, how much are you currently spending? Like, is there an easy way to see that? And I'm just not familiar. Maybe there is, but I think it would be nice like to get a little notebook report that said like, current wage bill, we're going to give you this much total. Current transfer spend, or like transfer budget, but if you join, we'll give you this much. That type of a thing, as well as like a comparison of the squad. How bad of a situation are we in? Well, we have the most agile goalkeeper in the league, as you do. He can't command his area, so he runs into lots of people from that standpoint, because he's trying to like dodge them with his agility, and he's not very good at throwing, but he's average. I mean, I guess there's more than one, but they're average. When you go to the defense, they're good at heading the ball and jumping. Tackling and marking and positioning and pace and acceleration, they are quite poor. Quite poor. Yes, indeed. Midfield, not any better. Can't pass, can't do long shots, below average vision, worse stamina, below average teamwork and tackling and technical ability and decision making. So we need to not give them lots of decisions. We also need to not pass a lot, apparently. Folks, this is rough. Attacking, how lopsided can you be? Terrible at finishing and off the ball and anticipation, below average in long shots and heading, but pretty pacey and ability to accelerate and jumping. We can jump, but we can't head. I bet we have a lot of games where we head the ball over the goal. I'm just guessing that's what that looks like. It's not very good physically. We're all right across the squad in balance. This is how I look at squads. Is like, give me the big picture here. Mentality, I ignore the goalkeeper. Maybe I shouldn't. But the outfield players, really terrible composure and concentration and decisions. The only thing we're good at is being aggressive. Okay, and then technical ability is just garbage. I mean, I think this is worse than Andorra. I think it is. It's pretty darn bad. So that's led me here. Okay, I'll show you the players here who I think are going to be key players for us. But the board and the supporters want defensive, counterattacking, direct football. Okay. I, as a manager, am very poor at doing things like that. I do not know how to do it. But I go, okay, if I was trying to make a custom setup here using a 4-3-3, because I kind of think based on our players, which we'll look at, that's going to be the best option. So I've got it on slightly more direct, higher tempo, be more disciplined. Like, don't be getting all crazy and trying to dribble. Like, stronger collective group is what we are looking for here, okay? And then be more direct, and when we get the ball, like, don't dilly-dally. We make terrible decisions anyway. We might as well punt it to you rather than stand on the ball and have it taken away from us. We want to distribute the ball quickly from goalkeeper. We want to counter, and because we're not so good, we want to regroup. We're not going to be counter-pressing. We're aggressive, but we don't have the pace, acceleration, stamina, or anything like that to counter-press. So we're going to try and do the classic, like, if we lose the ball, everyone turn back around, ignore what's happening behind you, and just run towards your own goal and regroup. And when we win the ball, run towards the other goal, right? That's kind of and that's probably how I would explain it. With a lower defensive line, not the lowest, okay? So we're not doing this, and a low block. So again, we are trying to, like, we're going to concede. You can pass the ball around, you know, at midfield or in your defensive third all you want. We're not going to come after you. We're not going to tip to tackle you. We're not very good at these things. I might do drop off more, a safety first approach, just to kind of give our slow defenders a chance to kind of like run a little bit more backwards. You do tend to give up, you know, more territory, invite more pressure when that happens. So I've left it off for now, but that's a way we could go. We're not going to do a triggering a press. I might even do like less often, right? Like this reduces the likelihood of team to be more patient and choose their stuff wisely. I think standard's fine to start. We don't care about short goalkeeper distribution. Again, you can, oh, nope. There you go. You can have the ball all you want it up here. We're not going to do anything crazy with any of these things. I thought we might trap outside, but we do have a DM. Is that going to help us? Not sure. But I have baked in some other options. So I want to show these to you because we do have options. This is the more we're playing against the top half of the table who's expected to destroy us. Compact that even further. So it's essentially the exact same setup, except we've got it on defensive and we've got it on drop off more. Okay. I do have one addition here of overlap left because we've got a pretty darn good fullback. Paulson is okay, but it's like, again, he's going to play fullback, but when he gets a moment, I want him to bomb forward to help us kind of stretch the field. That may be a bad idea on defensive mentality. We'll find out. Again, I've got him on attack here, but to make up for it, I've got the other fullback on defend and we've got a DM. So I'm hoping that kind of gives us enough like coverage. And then we do have the option for a 4-4-2 because we do have another striker coming in. Again, kind of the same thing, but doing it defensive, low block, counter, you know, maybe overlap if we've got time. I may take the overlap off in a 4-4-2 since we wouldn't have the DM. Actually, I probably will take care of that right now. Just leave him on fullback attack, but kind of handling it that way. That's kind of what we look like. So when we look at this, it's like, well, why did you choose that? Let me show you our best player. Kevin Ackerman. Contract expires in 4 months, and this is a weird thing that I've discovered. I don't know if this is a glitch in FM or if this is normal in Sweden. Somebody let me know. He has a transfer degree for next June. I'm not understanding that. Maybe it's because his contract is up in 4 months with us. Like, because our season ends here and he's just going to take some time off. Maybe? Like, and it's the summer window for Pek Zwolle, but I'm not too sure about that. His natural position is a ball-winning midfielder, so in that 4-4-2, we could use him in that role. But with him being our best player, okay? Let me go back over to the... Oh, no, I switched him. To the tactics screen here. When you look at the definition of a roaming playmaker, the heartbeat of the team, driving forward with the ball to spearhead attacks, as well as tracking back to cover defensively, always offering a passing option to teammates. The roaming playmaker must have the physical attributes to maintain a high intensity as well as the technical attributes to stamp his authority on the game. He'll look to pick up the ball in deep positions, work the ball forward with urgency, all the while keeping up with play. Will often camp on the edge of the penalty area looking for room to shoot or to try that killer ball which creates a goal-scoring opportunity. Okay, that sounds like the person you want to have the ball all the time. And that is Kevin Ackerman. Again, could he be better? Sure, his long shot's not so good, but the things in the grayish green, he has in spades, except maybe composure. But he's got, for our level, he's got pretty darn good physical attributes. He's got the passing and the vision and the work rate. He's got 15 vision. Like, this guy should be able to pick out passes in a counter when we need to. He also he's working on dictating tempo. He looks for the pass rather than attempting to score, so he won't hopefully use his 7 long shots and 6 finishing. He's resolute. He's the guy I want to have the ball. The rest are okay. Okay, so Abel Breton's here. Or Breton. No, he's Spanish. Bretons? I don't know. Fullback on attack. Again, I'm not saying he's outstanding in that role, but when you look at his technical abilities, dude is technical. So If I want somebody having the ball besides the roaming playmaker, it's probably him. He's learning to move the ball to left foot before attempting to dribble. Again, he's not a worldie. His composure and decisions could be better, but he's all right. The strike force is where I get a little concerned. So this is our best striker, Alexander Al-Holstrom. Knows the target forward role. We're going to play him as an advanced forward because at least he's got 12 acceleration and 11 pace, which again, for our team is not bad, but his dribbling is poor. His first touch is okay. He really is like a big lump. He's 6'3". Our team is quite tall. He's a big lump. He can't really pass. So like the target forward, even on attack, might be better, finishing and heading. But he's kind of all by himself. Like, I don't know. I thought having the advanced forward might be better. But you know, when you look at things, you know, a couple days later, you go like, well, maybe we do that. Maybe it's like punt it up to him and then see if he can make something happen. Playing off of him would be Daniel Paulson. He can play on either wing, but he is right-footed. He's, you know, pretty good left-footed as well, but he's right-footed, which is why I've got him on the inside forward. Again, finishing is a 10, which in comparison to our striker is only 2 less. Again, I'm not saying he's outstanding. He could also do the winger on support. I guess I have him on support. So dribbling and first touch. Yeah, so cutting in from the wing there, tackling is a 3, which is why putting him on like a 4-4-2 is not ideal. And on the right side, we've got Eric Anderson, who looks very thrilled to be here. On the support, again, his finishing is a 7, so he definitely can't go on attack. But all around, he's all right. He's actually better at midfield, but we've got limited options, so we're gonna put him out there. Isaac Dahlqvist is James Milner at age 22. He can play all over the place. We are going to put him on central midfielder on attack, so we have somebody else that can help in the attack. I'm thinking when we are countering here, you've got the fullback here in the mix, getting more attacking, the inside forward, cutting in, hopefully drawing some defenders, maybe getting in a little 1-2 situation with the target forward here. Like the target forward brings it down and Paulson's there and maybe he does something, and then the fullback is there to support the attacking movement. And then on the right side, we've got defense support. So I wanted to have somebody on the right side that was more attack-minded. And then we got Arion Seduku, who is a DM that we're going to play on defend. He could play support, but again, with an attacking fullback, I want kind of that guy that hangs out in the hole. He's better than an anchor, I think. We actually have other options that could play anchor, but he's a pretty darn good option. Now he's on a 6.7, essentially average over 13 games. Not lovely stuff. And our best striker has 4 goals in 15 starts and a sub. So there you go. At center back, we got a couple options. We've got Jesper Taj, who is quite good at heading the ball and jumping. So we do need to spend time in this and the antiquated set piece maker situation and get him in the mix because my goodness. We are going to play him on defend, even though his composure and concentration is not so hot, but we'll see how it goes. He is left-footed. And then we got Kevin LaFrance. We got 2 Kevins. He is either-footed, which I find is pretty rare. And we're going to play him on central defender on defend as well. He's 6'1". And then we got Azule, who is really a center back. His description as a center back. We could really use a right back. 9 crossing and marking, passing. He's all right. But he's really a center back. And then last but not least, we got our goalkeeper who knows the sweeper keeper pretty well. I'm going to put him on support so he doesn't get too crazy out there on attack. But really good first touch and passing. He can't throw, so I'm going to tell him, is that an instruction like don't throw, take more risks? No, of course not. So he's going to throw and get us in trouble at some point. But that's kind of how we're set up. Now, we do have some interesting options on the bench. We've got Javi Gomez here, who is super fast. Now, he's expecting regular starter minutes. We're going to probably drop that. We'll see. Down to squad player. Technically not very good. Pacey is all get out. So again, I'm thinking if we played like a 4-4-2 or in this 4-3-3, right? If we play him inverted on the left, he's very strong. Look at that. Use that pace and acceleration and like punt it into space for him on the counter to where he could run onto it. We had a player once in a save, I can't remember who, it's like he wasn't very good technically, but like it was just like hoof it to the fast guy on the right flank. I can't remember who it was though, but that was the idea. So we could do that. Again, he's reasonable at his right foot, but very strong on the left foot. So maybe we put him on a winger, but his crossing is terrible. So we can't really do that. I said we had some interesting options. It's just kind of as you would expect, right? That's why we're here. It's kind of meh. John Chetua is 23. He can play up and down the spine. He's a center back by media description, 6'1", but he's all right. He could play a ball-winning midfielder, I guess, with 13 tackling and 15 aggression, but it's a little light. We definitely, I think, need a right back. And then let me show you the striker that we've got coming in. I've been doing lots of trialing, as you do. It says that's not okay. There we go. Savara Atle Magnusson is coming in. I'm not sure why. He's got good pace and acceleration. His passing is 11. His finishing is a 10. Like, we need somebody with better than 12 finishing, I think. That's just me. So I'm going to hop us forward up until right before the first game against Kalmar FF, and we'll see if we bring anybody in and what the options look like. Again, I had a bunch of people that were looking at bringing on trial. We'll see if they accept. Oh, and before we do that, I forgot to show you, here's our staff. You'll notice above my head here, not a whole lot. We're really above average, barely, in goalkeeper distribution. Is that the distribution? Everything else is below average. We have a bunch of gaps in the coaching staff, so we can hire 2 coaches and 4 different types of performance analysts. We have a chief scout, but no other scouts or recruitment analysts. We have, for some reason, 2 physios and no head of sports science, so it's a little murky. All right, so the first signing I'm actually pretty excited about is Miguel Ibarra, who, if you are a fan of MLS, maybe a little bit of USL, he was with Minnesota for a while and then played a little bit for Seattle and then San Diego and Charlotte Independence. Not exactly the top level, but we brought him in as a coach because, my goodness, not tactical, technical. Look at his attacking coaching. That's what we need. For a team that scored 8 goals, I'm bringing in another American who speaks English, so we have someone to go have a hamburger with and understand each other while we are both learning Swedish. He also, importantly, over here, fluid counterattacking and a 4-4-2, likes to play long. So, like, he's not very disciplined, but he's resolute, and he's got really good coaching stats. We've also brought in David Sanchez as a scout, which is pretty good for our level. You would think 12 and 11 on the judging player ability would be not very good. Our chief scout has 8-8. Oh, and one other thing. We have a fitness coach who's our head physio. As you do, Roger Nordstrand, he was already here, is both the head physio with the 14 and a fitness coach with 11. I like the setup. He's fairly professional. He likes to control 4-4-2, but you know what? Beggars can't be choosers. I was like, okay, son. All right. I like it. I like it. We've not brought anybody in. I'm on the fence about this guy, Musa. We scouted him at Andorra. His finishing is 1 better than our current starting striker. His mentality is a lot better than both of the striker we already had and the guy that came in before I was, like, that wasn't my signing, but he just showed up. He's all right. What I also like about him is he enjoys a big match. It says he's a good player for most Super Etten sides, which is the league below us, but has potential to be a good striker in the future. He might be one of those, like, good investments. And he could also enable us to play like a 4-4-2 with a target forward and a pressing forward, right? Because this guy, now that he's here, Magnusson, I don't know about you all, but when you play this, finding somebody whose best role is a false 9 is extraordinarily rare to me. And not helpful in our situation. So he can play the advanced forward because he's got the acceleration. What else can you do? Not a whole lot. He's right-footed, so he can help, go on the right. But, like, I am not excited about him. I think they picked him up because he was on a free. Like, he played in the 2nd division in Denmark, and now he is in the top division in Sweden. It seems like a poor move for him and for us. Like, in the 2nd division, he's only scored 3 goals in 13 games. Now, he did it with a 7.0, but, like, it seems like a desperation move, if you ask me. So when I look at him and then I look at Musa, I go, like, Musa doesn't have like the full slate of physicals. Like he doesn't have a 14 acceleration or pace or anything, but he's got the mentals and he's got pretty darn good in comparison to the rest of the squad finishing. Would you sign Musa? Let me know. We also brought in 2 players on trial for right back, and of course the other one, as soon as we offered him a contract, pick up a contract for BK Hacken, which is another team in our league that's significantly higher up in the table, and he went that way. He would have been unbelievably good, and instead we've got Isaac Donkor here, who is an upgrade on the right back, who's really a center back, I guess. Is he enough of an upgrade? I'm not so sure about that. But when you look at it, it's like, well, we also got Jesper Mans here, who's played in 7 total appearances on a 6.56. He's a fringe player. He's got better crossing, you know, like he's about as good. Do we just use him? Thing that's interesting that we have to be aware of as we are building out our squad, you do get 5 subs from 7 with a max of 3 stoppages, but the match squad must have at least 9 players trained by a club in Sweden. So that's why you're seeing this homegrown. So it's not the starting 11. It's not the playing 11. It's the match squad. So in the 18, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I have to have one more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, there's the 9. But that's kind of what you got to deal with here. That's problematic. Right. We don't have any other potentially inbound transfers. I tried to get some like kids from the United States to come on trial. They said no. The club is familiar with this guy, but like I don't really think he's significantly better than what we already got. And he isn't trained by a club in Sweden, so that's problematic. So we kind of have to be careful about who we bring in to try and like bring the club up to snuff. And what I'm going to leave you with here, my friends, besides looking at the schedule, is we are 1.2 million in the hole. We do get 2 million if we survive and stay in the league. Transfer budget is 91,000. We've got, you know, what is that, 3,000 to spend in wages. That's essentially one really good player at our level. I have gone back and looked at like players we had scouted and put on the short list in Spain. None of them are interested in coming. Nobody's even interested in coming on loan for 6 months. Like, it's pretty barren out there. But what can you do? From not much, apparently. Does this have our rivals on it? Because I know I'm using a skin. Oh well, it doesn't matter. We take on Kalmar FF and IF Elfsborg. So 11th and 6th are our next 2 games. But this is all what we've got to do. Like, we've got to make some magic happen, and we got to make the magic happen quickly. So when you look at Kalmar, they're on 20 points. Let me take you to the stage screen so we can take a look at that there. Stages, Kalmar, 12 goals, 14 allowed. So like they've conceded 5 less than us and scored 4 more than us. So even though they're just at 11th, I think it is going to be a challenge. My friends, if you've enjoyed this, hit that like button. I appreciate you giving me some grace with, I'm trying to batch record these at the turn of the new year, right before the new year. One of my kids got sick, and then on like the new year, the other kid got sick, and then my wife and I celebrated our anniversary. And so we've kind of been busy, and I want to batch record these. I'm trying to get mentally more comfortable to saying, you know what? I can only do what I can do. So like, I'm going to batch record these and put them out kind of in seasons so that I don't feel the stress to like put something out every day. So thank you so much for your support. Hit that like button, subscribe if you're new, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.